Hello again, everybody. This is Chris Ostrowski from About, and in this video we're going to take a look at one of the fundamental building blocks of an Oracle database, something called synonyms. We're going to take a look at what they are, why they exist, how to create a synonym, and then we'll hop into Oracle SQL Developer. We'll see how easy it is to create synonyms, how they can make your life a heck of a lot easier, and some of the things that you have to know about how Oracle resolves information related to synonyms. So let's start off by asking the question, what are they? A synonym is an alias for a database object. Database object can be a table or a view. Those are the most common things that you can have a synonym for. They make your life a heck of a lot easier when it comes time to organize your database, or more importantly, reorganize your database. There's two basic types of synonyms. Private synonyms, which are just available to the user who created the synonym, and a public synonym, which can be accessed by anybody on the system. So the question comes up as to why do synonyms even exist? Well, the simplest answer is that they make referencing a database object like a table or a view a heck of a lot easier. In the most complex way of accessing a database object, you may have to specify schema, an object, and for this particular example, a database link. So you might have a SQL statement that looks like this, where you select the sum of orders from order history.archived orders at datamart 1. That's a lot to type out on a regular basis. You can make this reference point a lot easier by using an alias, a synonym. So I could create a synonym called, let's say, AO for archived orders. And once I do that, the select statement becomes a lot easier. All I have to do is say select sum of orders from AO. Oracle's smart enough to look through all of the objects that I have permissions on to see if there's anything called AO. If there's nothing called AO, then it starts looking at my private synonyms to see if I've defined something called AO. If it finds something there, it resolves it and does the select statement. If it doesn't find anything in my private synonyms, then it looks at public synonyms and says, okay, is there a public synonym called AO? If it is, then it resolves that and runs a select statement. The more important question as to why they exist is that it eliminates hard coding inside your application. Let's say, for example, you have a table called GL_ledger. And it was in the ACCT for accounting schema, and the database gets reorganized. The application starts growing bigger and bigger, and it's decided that you need to break out tables and views into different schemas to reorganize your database a lot more efficiently. If you do that, and you're referencing GLledger through acct.glledger, you have a problem. All your PL SQL statements, any packages, any functions, any procedures, any code that you have inside your Oracle Forms or however you're accessing that data, that has to be changed also. That can be a real challenge if you don't have a tool that can go through all of your business logic relatively easily. If you use a synonym, however, the synonym gets updated. So I might have a synonym called GLledger, or maybe GLledger_SYN for synonym, and that's what I reference inside of all my code, inside all my packages and procedures and functions. If I do have to move the GLledger table from one schema to another, all I have to do is update the synonym. As soon as I update the synonym, the next time the form executes, or the package executes, or the procedure or function executes, it resolves the synonym and it knows where to find the data. I don't have to go through and change any of the code that makes up my application. To create a synonym, it's real simple. To create a private synonym, you just say create synonym, the synonym name, for whatever object you're trying to create a synonym for. Like I said, the most common ones are tables and views. To create a public synonym, you just put the word public in there. You have to have the right privileges to create a public synonym, obviously. But if you have those privileges, you can then create a public synonym. You can have private synonyms and public synonyms with the exact same name. We'll show an example coming up here on how Oracle goes through and actually resolves the references inside your synonyms. And speaking of that, let's get to an example. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop into SQL Developer. And you can see for this particular schema here on the right hand side, I have three tables. I have a table called X with one column, I have a table called Y with two columns, and a table called Z with three columns. So I'm going to create a synonym called ABCD for Y. Execute that statement, you can see my synonym is created. So now if I say describe ABCD, you can see I have my two columns. I can also create a public synonym. And if I create a public synonym called ABCD for Z, my table with three columns, you can see public synonym ABCD is created. But if I do a describe on ABCD, it's still pointing to my Y table. That's because the way Oracle resolves looking for objects like this is it first looks to see if I have an object owned by the user with this name. If it can't find it, then it looks for private synonyms with this name. Then it looks for public synonyms with this name. Since I have a private synonym called ABCD, which points to Y, that's the one that's still getting resolved. So let's drop my private synonym ABCD. You can see synonym ABCD dropped, but I still have the public synonym that's available to me. So if I do a describe on ABCD, now it points to my Z table with three columns in it. I also can't create a synonym with the same name as an object I already own. So let's say I wanted to try to create if I try to create a private synonym called X for my Y table, this won't work because I already have an object called X. Let me clear out my screen output here. If I try to run this statement, it says, sorry, I'm not going to let you do that. You already have something that's owned by that. But I certainly can create a public synonym called X for my Y table. That certainly works. Now, if I describe X, remember how Oracle resolves all this stuff, right? It looks for an object that's in my current schema. If it doesn't find it, then it goes to private synonyms, then it goes to public synonyms. So when I describe X here, it'll find this one column table inside my current schema. You can see that it finds it right there. Now, if I drop table X, I don't have a table X here anymore. I have to refresh on the right hand side. You can see I just have a Y and a Z. Let me clear this. And I do describe X again. What's going to happen? It's going to look for a local object called X, of which I don't have any. It's going to look for a private synonym called X, of which I don't have any. Then it's going to look for that public synonym X, which points to Z that I created a little while ago. I'm sorry, that points to Y that I created a little while ago. So now when I do describe X, it finds the public synonym pointing to Y with the two columns. I hope that was meaningful for you. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email, and please visit the About.com website for white papers, videos, and other information about our organization.